and welcome to Middle-Aged Geeks. My name is Phil. I'm joined as always by my co-host Daz. Daz, how are you?
Very good, man. Very good. Just back from a swim with my daughter, which is always great. You spend more time getting ready and trying to get out of the place than you do actually swimming. But apart from that, yeah, good. How was your weekend going?
Grant, yeah. I just got back from a holiday yesterday, so I had to go home, spent a few hours reconnecting with my dog, who I missed more than I missed any people, and then I had to go and see the movie for this week. So I'm fucking exhausted, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah. But apart from that, pretty good. For those of you at home who are new to the show, the way we work is we start off with a bit of news that's going to jump out at us this week. Then we will move on to what we've been playing and watching the past week, before then moving on to our main section, which is a movie review. And we'll have a spoiler-free section at the start for those of you who want to go on and see this movie, and then we'll jump into Spoiler Town, where we dissect it and critique it. So like I said, we'll start off with the news. So, Daz, is there anything that jumped out for you in the news this week?
Oh, the big news of the week, yeah, was Tom Hardy saying he's playing Venom for the last time in this movie, which shock fucking horror. Like, the guy obviously signed up for a 3-picture deal and hasn't quite lit up the screen and in terms of numbers and everything. So, yeah, sad news that we're only going to get Tom Hardy for one more Venom movie. I can hear the violins and tears on your side.
Yeah, I love Tom Hardy, and the character of Venom is great, but like they just made him into this joke. Like, you know, and it was just slapstick stuff at times. Like the first one was kind of, you know, it was humorous enough. The first one, you know, and obviously it had a great cast and stuff, but it's just, you know, because you've got fucking what's his name, Riz, or never forget his surname. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, you had him and you had Michelle Williams and Tom Hardy himself, obviously. But the second one, Woody Harrelson, was atrocious, and I expect The Last Dance to be absolute garbage as well. I can't wait to review that one. It's going to be a fun episode.
And what else? Ubisoft are seemingly fucked now after Assassin's Creed being delayed to next year, and they had kind of a semi-flop with Star Wars Outlaws and Lost Crown at the start of the year. Didn't really do, didn't match up to what their expectations were. And you always wonder with these companies where they get their expectations anyway. Just like, it's below the numbers we had for this, and just like, if you don't market the fucking games, like, you're not going to get the return. But yeah, someone was saying they're actually considering selling the company or going private or something like that.
And the shares got a boost when they announced that their shares actually went up slightly. Yeah.
It's just like, fuck's sake. But like the company, like Ubisoft, it's fucking ginormous. Like they've 18,000 employees, and you know what happens to a large majority of those employees if they do kind of sell up is who fucking knows. But it's just a company that's obviously mismanaged into the ground.
Yeah.
Because it's for years, you know, they just said like Assassin's Creed, you know, they're churning them out every year. They've so many different development teams. They could churn them out every year with, you know, astonishing levels of detail to all the locations and all this stuff. So they're obviously making a shit ton of money, but they're just behind the scenes, they're just fucking all over the place. And it just shows how fragile the games industry is, where one kind of semi-dodgy year and the whole thing just starts to crumble and people panic, and all the CEOs and executives worry about their 2 million bonuses not coming through, and potentially decide to jump ship. So yeah, very annoying and frustrating, which just adds to a year of kind of shitty decisions by suits in gaming companies, which leads to developers losing jobs, which is pretty shit. But then on a more positive note, Edgar Wright is remaking The Running Man, which I didn't know. This apparently is happening already, starring Glenn Powell. And it got a release date of November next year, and it's just like straight away just going, fucking yes, Glenn Powell. Love that guy. Absolutely.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that when it comes out in 2026. Anything you're penciling in that far ahead just for November, let's get pushed back.
2027 probably.
I know you've got the man crush for Glenn Powell, and he's awesome. He is great.
He's fucking great, and Edgar Wright is just such an inventive director. It'd be nice to
Yeah.
see what he does with that. Because 1987, yeah, it's a long time ago that Schwarzenegger lit up the screens on that one. And final bit then was Matthew Lillard confirmed that one of our movies of the year, Five Nights at Freddy's, has begun production. So I think they've started filming in October, November. So it's Christmas next year. That's going to come out, and fucking start the countdown now. Fucking bring it on.
Oh, it'd be so good if they could get it out for Halloween, though. That'd be
Yeah.
absolutely. I know that'd be pushing it, like, but that'd be amazing.
But there's not much to these fucking movies.
No. I think as soon as we get a release date, we'll have to get D Ready back in the book. If any of you are interested and want to go back and look at one of our older or check out our older episodes on Spotify, we did a review of the first movie, and it was great fun. So you can check that out if you like. Yeah, that's that. I'm looking forward to that as well. I mean, the first one was insane and ridiculous, but so much fun. I would be brokenhearted if they don't bring Vanessa back, because that character was just fucking off the wall.
Yeah, bananas.
Yeah.
But yeah,
anything else? Okay. I did actually have a massive amount of news. A bit of sad news to start off was that Chris Christopherson died. So Chris Christopherson has been around for like fucking 60 years in the entertainment business, between like traveling the world as a music entertainer and then starring in movies and all the rest of it. And as you made the comment to me, these people who are reporting on it are just saying famous for the Blade movies. It's like, no, not really. Like,
he's done a lot of shit. I mean?
Like, yeah, like he was in a couple of Blade movies, sure, but like he's also been around for fucking many decades. Putting out other stuff. Yeah. It just really just takes away from the massive career he's had by going, he was a fucking side character in a couple of Blade movies, like harsh. And the only other thing I had news-wise was the second trailer has been released for Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, and that just looks fucking class. I love his movies. Did you get around to watching?
No.
Northman? No, you didn't. Okay.
No. Northman. No. It's what's the trailer for this like? Is it?
It looks class. Like it's because like I think Nosferatu, the original one, was kind of, what was it, like an unofficial kind of adaptation of Dracula, of Bram Stoker's book. Like, so I think that this looks class. It's got his kind of stamp on it. The cast is ridiculous. Like, it's Ralph Ineson, Emma Corrin, who we spoke about a couple of weeks ago in Deadpool and Wolverine, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Lily Rose Depp, Bill Skarsgård, Nicholas Hoult, and Willem Dafoe. Like, it's a savage cast, and it'll have that look that it's going to be super dark, and I'm looking forward to that one. But that's all I have. Nothing else coming news-wise has really jumped out. As I mentioned, I was away, so I didn't get a chance to look into too much news. So look, with that section out of the way, why don't we jump on then to what we have been playing and watching? So Daz, what have you been playing and watching for the past week?
Finally got stuck into Astrobot. Yay!
Awesome.
And it's fucking brilliant. It's such a delightful game. For anyone who doesn't know, it's the new 3D platformer on the PS5, and it's amazing. It controls beautifully. It looks fantastic. It's a real throwback to Mario Odyssey and any kind of 3D Mario game that, if anyone's played one in the last 30 years, it feels like that on a control level, which, like, there's so many imitations on this kind of like 3D platformer that just don't quite stick the controls that well. And this is buttery smooth. And it's a love letter to PlayStation owners. And as much as like I didn't have an original PlayStation, anything up until the PlayStation 4. So I guess maybe a lot of this stuff is kind of over my head in terms of characters you see and throwbacks to earlier games, but it's like simple, silly plot where your ship, which is a PlayStation 5, gets attacked by aliens and crashes, and you have to find 5 internal components in 5 different galaxies, and you go off, and there's multiple planets to explore, and it's full of Easter eggs, and like every level, similar to Mario games, you just drop onto a planet and have to find 7 or 8 other Astrobots hidden somewhere. You have to get through puzzles and some really great platforms or platforming levels, and there's a lot of Easter eggs in there, and there's also like cool bits where Kratos, God of War, makes an appearance in it, and there's like Nathan Drake and stuff, and that's those kind of the gameplay changes based on who you meet. You kind of get different powers from different people, and it's really fucking cool. Like an Astrobot God of War level is an absolute standout. But yeah, I think I'm unfortunately coming to the end of it, like breezing through it, but. I'd play through it again. It's one of those where you look back at one of the planets and see, you missed one of these tokens or whatever, and you just any excuse just to go back and play that level again. It's it's very, very, very cool. I haven't played a platformer of this caliber in quite some time. Back to Mario in 2017. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But
I think when like even the Astrobot's Playroom. When the PlayStation released, it basically came with it, and I wasn't really that's not what I was waiting for this console for, so I didn't really I don't care. But I ended up fucking playing it on whatever it was day one and going, this is fucking amazing. Like you said, it controls so well,
so tight. Yeah,
the music was out of this world. It was so good. And that was just such a short little game that I replayed multiple times. Such a great little game, but I haven't gotten around to playing. At the Astrobot game yet, the main one. So I will. It's obviously on the list behind all the other shit I have to get through, but I'll definitely get it played.
Yeah, and if it gets discounted, which hopefully it would, because I think it is. It's not that it's quite short, but if you spend a few hours, you easily there's 5 different zones to complete, and a few hours, and you have one down. You kind of you almost put the controller down to save the joy for another night, which is great.
Yeah.
But that's all I've been playing pretty much. Watching, not really much. Just watched Inside Out 2 with my daughter again because it was on streaming, and that. And we watched Inside Out again after Inside Out 2. Just like, let's watch the first one again. Fucking hell. But delightful stuff. Always, there's an extra star in those movies when you watch them with kids. It really is like.
Of course, yeah. They add the excitement to it, seeing the joy in their heads and they're fucking watching it. Reminds you of when you're younger watching it. Yeah.
Just hearing your daughter kind of go, "Oh, look at anxiety. She's fucking great." Oh, it's great. But how about yourself?
Just on that, Maya Hawke, she did the voice for anxiety in that movie. Yeah. I didn't realize she was a singer or an artist as well. Like I was looking through Ticketmaster the other day, and it popped up and said that she's playing a gig over here at the National Stadium. Maya Hawke was like, "Fuck, is that the same one?" Apparently, it is. I didn't even know she was. I didn't know she was a musician. Yeah. On my end, I saw a few new ones. I did get around to watching Apartment 7A, which was the kind of prequel to Rosemary's Baby, and it's not great. It's not great, but it is good to see Diane Wiest because I haven't watched her in anything in a while. I know she still has a very active career, but I just haven't seen her in much. But so it was cool to see her, and she's really, really good. And she's probably the best thing in the movie. And Julia Garner is great. It's just like the writing is kind of hack, and it's just it's not even the slightest bit scary at all, which is a real bummer. Like it's not even creepy. There's nothing in it to kind of this is fucking PG-13 horror. Like it's
no,
wank. But on the subject of horror, I did watch Oddity, which we mentioned before. Damien McCarthy, the Irish director. I got around to watching that, and that's really good. I think the reviews are a bit over the top. Like it's got 99% on Rotten Tomatoes or something like that. You're like, it's good. Don't get me wrong, it's good, and it's great that it's so self-contained in like one or two locations. I think there's location, hospital, but maybe only 3 to 4 locations, in the whole thing, and it's very self-contained, very small cast. And it does have some creepy moments and guessing what exactly is going on, and it does a good job. He does a good job of creating the atmosphere with what it seems to be a very small budget. But it's decent performances, and I enjoyed that one. And then the last one, which is not horror the least, was I saw Transformers 1, and I loved it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Like it's just. I don't want to give anything away. Firstly, I'm delighted. This isn't really a spoiler because I think it might have been mentioned already, but seeing Soundwave is just fantastic. I just loved I love
I didn't know
classic
he was in
Soundwave.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I love classic Soundwave. I mean, they can put him in the Michael
Does he
Bay
have the
movies,
voice?
but
Does he have the
he's
voice?
yeah, of course,
Ah,
yeah.
yes.
Because when you put like Soundwave and I was into the Michael Bay movies, it changed him up. I think he was a fucking. They made him a satellite or something in the
Yeah.
first movie or something like that. I was like,
Hmm.
oh, you dickheads.
But Soundwave is always when you're a kid. It was just like, like Optimus Prime turned into a truck and things turn into tanks and all this stuff. Soundwave just turns into like a kind of fucking stereo ghetto blaster thing. You're just
Yeah,
like,
like
how do you work
I
that
love.
into your playtime? And it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna turn it to a musical stereo and kill
Well, it's
you.
also how the fuck did the robot that size turn into a little tape recorder? Like, and then
Yeah, so
it was like,
Megatron turned into a gun. It's just like, what? That
yeah.
you can
Then
hold in your
Starscream was
hand.
using the guns. Like, hang on a second now, hang
Hold
on.
on, guys. Hold on.
But he's just fucking cool. I absolutely loved Soundwave. So that was that. No, it's a lot. It's really, really funny as well. There's actually a key. There's even because what's his face? Is it Michael Key or fucking Key? What's his name? From Key and Peele. Remember his first
Oh,
name?
yeah. Who played Toad? Yeah.
Jordan Peele and something Key. Is it Michael?
Mike
Anyway,
Mike and Keenan something.
well. Anyway, he's
Michael.
okay. Yeah, he's in it, and so there's actually a Key and Peele joke. They make like an Aaron joke, from his thing when they're in the classroom when he's getting everybody's name wrong, like.
Yeah.
And yeah, so there's an Aaron joke in it as well, which I thought was great. I laughed out loud at that. It's no, it's totally worth a watch for adults and kids. It's fantastic.
Brilliant.
It does get pretty kind of dark in some parts you wouldn't be expecting for a movie that is aimed at kids. But it's
good.
Such a cool it's a cool little origin story. It looks the business. You'll like it because it's super pink and purple. And it's just it's a lot of fun. I definitely recommend it. And then with regards to playing, I started Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. I picked it up so I could play it on the plane. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like it's kind of you're kind of picking up these. It's almost like learning spells, these echoes. You go along and you can learn what an echo is. An echo might be of a table that you spare, and then you can go, okay, now I can recreate that with this rod that you have. And so you can use it to access different places. And like there's more than one way to get into certain areas. It's not all the same way. So it's a bit like what was the shrines, in the later, the two latest Zelda games where there's multiple ways to do it. It's similar in this. There is multiple ways to do your little puzzles, which is great. And it's just cool. It's cool to play as Zelda, instead of Link for a change.
Yeah.
And it's as much fun. It really, and because the graphics are the same as the remake of Link's Awakening, they're absolutely gorgeous. It's so smooth, and it's just I didn't experience any frame rate issues. I think I did see one of the reviews mention that there was some, but I haven't come across any. No, it's just a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to getting stuck into it maybe again next week. Obviously I was only really playing on the plane, so I haven't got to play too much, but I'll definitely get stuck into it next week. So that's all I have on my end. So what we'll do then is we will move on now to our main section, which is the movie review. And Daz is going to take us through that. 2024's Folie Joker, Folie Adieu by Todd Phillips. So Daz, whenever you're ready, take it away.
Super duper. This will be an interesting one to chat through. You saw this yesterday. I saw it on Friday. Had some time to kind of process it. We'll do our spoiler-free as much as we can. Spoiler-free section first, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty and the spoilers section. But I'll set up the movie just first. It's the sequel to 2019's Joker, which was a stellar hit, making over $1 billion at the box office. And this movie follows Arthur Fleck when he is institutionalized at Arkham, and he's awaiting trial for his crimes as Joker. And while struggling with his dual identity, Arthur not only stumbles upon true love, but also finds the music that's always been inside him. And I didn't write that. That's from IMDb. So yeah, this movie is getting kind of polarizing reviews, as the first one did. But I was a massive fan of the first one. And this one obviously has Joaquin Phoenix again, who's just, I don't think he ever can put in a poor performance. I don't think I've ever seen him not be anything from great to absolutely excellent. I think he's fantastic in this. And it adds Lady Gaga into the mix as well. But before I get stuck into my thoughts, I'd be curious to find out what you thought of this, Philly.
Yeah, like you had seen the reviews coming in. Like it's got a rotten score, Rotten Tomatoes, both for audience and for critics. And it's only got something like 5 point something on IMDb. Like it's not doing well critically. And I know you had said it was kind of you when we were texting back and forth afterwards. You were saying it was just kind of you were a little bit bored or whatever. And I just thought, okay, well, I'm not going to go into it expecting much, but I would say for the first like 45 minutes to an hour, I was actually enjoying it. I didn't think it was amazing. It was nothing on the first one, but I was enjoying it. I liked the musical numbers. I thought were good. I love the look of it. I do think that there's some incredible shots and incredible directing in this. But for the first 40 minutes to an hour, I was like, yeah, this is entertaining. But this movie is nearly 2.5 hours long, and fuck me, like after that first like 45 minutes to an hour, I was like, Jesus, this is dragging in. And there's the music numbers that I liked. There's some great ones. The soundtrack is wonderful. Some of them are just not needed. Like I get it, you're trying to use it for so much if it's in his and her imagination, but some of it is just when it's him on his own and stuff. Like, you don't really need a music scene there, and it's just they just saying that they kept just cranking these in. Like there's not that much in music wise in the first say 45 minutes, but once then they're fucking cranking them out every 5 minutes. It seems like there's another one thrown in, and it just got a bit much for me. Like it's I don't think it's as bad as people are making out, but it's also not a patch on the first one. And I don't know if because Todd Phillips, no one was expecting him to do such a good job with the first one. Because of he's mostly a comedy director, and so it did so well. So it was kind of with this second one, did he kind of think I'm golden now, like I'm untouchable? Let's try something else. I'll make it a musical. I don't know. Is that why they decided to change it up completely and not go for what could have been an easy setup from the first one? There's so much you could do with it. So I don't know. I'd be interested to hear what you think on that about Todd Phillips and why you think he took the direction he did.
Yeah, Jesus, I like. At some points, I was thinking, is it because it made $1 billion that someone said we need a sequel to this, because it seems to retread over ground we've covered in the first movie. That was my main problem with it, where after the end of the first movie, it didn't need a sequel. But when it was announced there is a sequel, you kind of go, oh, okay, well, where are they going to go with this? And it kind of just, it's not a spoiler, so it just kind of starts again. He's imprisoned again. He's back, depressed and quiet and kind of sheepish. And we don't see that character, Joey, that emergence at the end of the movie where it's just like where he kind of becomes Joker. And it was very powerful. And we kind of seem to backtrack completely again. I was kind of confused and befuddled as to why they went that route. But like you and me both loved the first movie, and I was only when I was checking the Rotten Tomatoes score on this, I saw the first movie didn't. Well, I think it got a fresh score, but it was like in the 60% or something like that. I didn't realize it was that polarizing. I fucking loved the first movie. I know a lot of people didn't like the first one.
I think audience-wise, it has a high score in Rotten Tomatoes. I think just the critic-wise.
Yeah, and like I loved the take on the new character. I wasn't bothered that the first movie stole a lot from Scorsese and Taxi Driver and King of Comedy and all that. Had its own story to tell. That's fine. So when they were going down the route of musical, it was like I'm all in. It doesn't matter, It's just you're adding Lady Gaga into this and Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix for it's a great team. So I was all into whatever they were going to do. But I really didn't like this movie. Like I didn't even like I know what you're saying at the start. You're going along with it. It's nice to be back watching this character, and Brendan Gleeson's in it, and that straight away adds, he's like a 27%er kind of actor that just being in the movie makes it 27% better. It's great watching him. He's having a fucking laugh. But yeah, like the movie looks superb. The score is great. The musical numbers on their own are quite good, and the acting is fantastic. From the main principal characters, some of the others we mentioned before, off camera. That like some once you get away from the billed names on the cast sheet, the quality kind of dips a little bit. But it fell away for me like in so many kind of narrative ways and very strange choices regarding the music. I mean, I don't even, they're saying like it's a musical, and I know Todd Phillips has said, well, it's not really a musical or whatever, and it's kind of not. Like it's not a musical, but even as a musical, I don't think it's a very good musical. You know what I mean?
I mean, musicals usually tell a story within the song. You know, that's music, what you're getting. Yeah. You're getting something about it, like someone's left heartbroken, and then they just sing a song about that ties in with the story, or you know, whatever it happens to be. You're like, fucking, you know, that. But this isn't. This is just a lot of, you know, a great fucking Motown and stuff like that, songs that they sing and play. But it's, yeah, they're just, it doesn't seem, they don't point of them really in the movie. They just picked ones they thought might fit with what's going on, rather than they don't further the plot in any way, the songs. And I felt like when you mentioned about the direction and stuff that was taken, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I felt like there was loads of ADR, like exposition was being dumped off camera to the side and telling us about the story. Like we're hearing stuff on the radio, or a guard is overheard saying, "Oh yeah, and don't forget, you know, this happened in the first one with he killed this guy and the guys he did here," and it's basically letting us know what happened in the first movie. There's one point when he's in the car with the other two guys, and they're talking about everything that's just happened and talking us through it. It's like, well, we can see it. I don't need this, you know. I don't, and it felt like that was ADR. Like this was added in afterwards for someone who thought, no, the audience are too fucking thick. They won't remember the first film, and they won't know what's going on here. And we spent too much time singing, so let's have a bit of fucking exposition, you know, off camera. And it's just
there was like some reports that like someone said, you know, they'd be in Joaquin's trailer, you know, on the morning of shooting, and they just tear up the script and just write something new or whatever. And a lot of it seems like that, where they've kind of gone, fuck it, we won't bother doing that scene. Let's just sing an old fucking 60s show tune that features some words about the scene, you know. And that's my problem with the music, is music itself is, some of it works, some of it doesn't. Sometimes it's confusing, it's in its head, and other times it's very obviously not in his head. There's one point where the music is actually in a TV interview, and the interview, they play that him singing in the interview on the TV that he's watching. You're just going, what TV producer would leave that in the fucking interview? That beside the point. But I just found it confusing.
I just figured all of it. I just figured all of the music was in his head. I didn't think any of it was, apart from when she's singing to him a little bit that you see in the trailer. I just assumed most of it was in their heads.
I think some of it just seems like it is. It's been played, because it's not. Some of it is he's just talking on a phone to her, and he just kind of starts singing in the scene, and it's not this. And some of it is, you know, they're transported to a crazy set, or that from the trailer where they're on, you know, they have their own kind of talk show and they're dancing and singing, and that kind of stuff works because it's, you know, it's very obvious. Oh, that's what you're doing here. You're kind of going somewhere. But for someone to just break into song at kind of random moments where you're just, nothing changes, just in the scene, you start singing, and the amount of times that I just a load of my notes are just like, oh, why are you singing? What? Like you were doing great. The scene before this was great, and now you just start the singing, and it's like, it's not that I don't like music, because I'm just like, it's not working. It's just really like just head in your hands kind of stuff. And I just found that aspect kind of confusing. And the worst thing about it, like, I just felt it was incredibly dull, and not in a bleak way. Like I said, I love the first movie. I love bleak movies, but I just found it dull, and I was bored for a lot of it. And I really didn't expect to be uttering those words in a sequel to Joker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If something was if it was not going to work, I expected it to not work with the music or something, or just something tonally might be off. But I just sat there kind of going, there's nothing happening. And the movie takes place in 2 locations, and not a lot happens. We're retreading a lot of the character beats and narrative elements that we've already done in the first movie, and it felt towards like when we got to kind of the like maybe an hour and a half into this movie, it felt like we were finally catching up on where we were with the character at the end of the first movie. You kind of go, we've been here. Why are we going through all this again? It just felt very confused. Yeah.
I thought that
strange.
I thought they were going to go with Harley Quinn. I thought that she was going to inject some fun into it. I thought that's what it was going to be. And even on the trailer, you can see them. I thought that's what it was going to be, that there will be humor, and that's what they would do. It would bring a lot more levity to what can be a very dark movie, because that's what that's what the first one was. It was, and I thought, oh, that's what they're going to do. She'll be there to bring a bit of levity into levity, but she ends up being just as fucking miserable. Like the character, she, don't get me wrong, I thought her performance was great. I thought she's great. I would say to you, I never found her attractive before, because I don't really know a massive amount. I know her songs, obviously, but I thought she was like gorgeous in this, and I thought she did a really, really good job as the character they gave her to do. But I just, like, Harley Quinn, I know it's a different version of the Harley Quinn we know, but Harley Quinn that we know is so nuts and over the top and funny, and like I that kind of bummed me out a little bit. Like
and the title doesn't, like the Folie Deux is like the madness of two or whatever, but we never see them outside the fucking prison or courtroom at all. Like, what madness? What are you talking about? Is it the madness of two in your head? They don't. We'll get into her character a bit more and spoiler. But yeah, no, with the songs, like La La Land, or the songs, musicals like this, which when it breaks into a musical number, you're along for the ride, because, as you said, it's the music, the lyrics are progressing the story, or it's original songs or whatever. So many times in this, there's songs that they sing about, or the song they sing is kind of describing what we've just seen, or an emotion or something. It's kind of like, it's like this is not in the movie, but it's like, if someone just, if you just shot a man down the road, and then the next scene you're just like, shot a man down the road. It's like, I know, we saw it, and again, that was my main problem. Why are you singing? Like, what you just, and sometimes they're very short, but then other times it's really, like, some of the songs just drag on. You're just going like, why? This would just be so much more profound, or it would hit home maybe a bit more if you weren't singing. It just act the fucking scene out. It's just, it really, it was disjointed that way. We're kind of taken in and out of the movie, and that's why I felt bored. I felt the length of the movie. We talked about the substance, which is 2 hours and 20 minutes, and if somebody said that was 96 minutes, you go, of course, flew by. This just really, because you're not really as engaged as the first one. The first one was fucking fantastic. Like enthralled, you were in it. Every scene was just, I thought, was just riveting watching this character. And this one, it just, I just couldn't get invested at all. But will we get into spoilers? Yeah. Well, what would you give a star rating for this?
Like, it's so middle of the road, for me. I literally didn't think it was so bad that I'm going to give it a bad movie, but it's definitely not really good. But like, I'm literally going to go 2.5. I'm going to go straight down the middle with 2.5, because I was entertained for some of it. I loved some of the performances, but as a movie as a whole, it hasn't left any mark on me. I've no desire to watch it again. It's just, I'm sad that it wasn't better than it was.
Yeah. It's very disappointing. Yeah, I'd go like probably just 2 stars. I'm not going to go 1 or anything. Like, because there's moments in it that are very good. Like, the acting is fantastic, but it doesn't paper over enough cracks, because they're glaring, massive wide chasms through the movie. But it looks gorgeous, and when the score comes in, like the score from the first movie, it comes in, I think, twice, and it just reminded me how good the first movie was. You're just kind of going, more of that fucking score. But I got 2 stars. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to know. It's like the first one. It's people who didn't like the first one might love this. Generally, people that like the first one don't seem to like this, and not for the reasons that people would think, like, oh, it's musical or whatever. It's not. It's just, yeah, I felt like they were kind of someone somewhere in a suit was just trying to right the wrongs of the first one, the way it was received, or, is it promoting incels and all this kind of stuff, and they're just like, oh, we'll just, here's the movie, here it is again, we're just gonna like tell his story again, or his progression again.
But I mean,
very
like, you
disappointing.
talk about the first one, promoting incels. That's if you want to read that into it. But I mean, you can fucking read. You can, if you want, you can read anything into anything. I mean, you can make something about you. No problem. That's the whole beauty of movies, that people will sometimes read them and see
Yeah.
themselves in a character. And maybe that's not what the director was going for at all.
Yeah, that's why the first movie, as polarizing as it was, promoted a lot of interesting discussion like that, where so many people were black and white on it, where they're just like, oh, you fucking like the Joker, or you championing people murdering people, what? Just because you say, well, I sympathized with the character and his scenario and situation and how society treated him or whatever, but that doesn't, just because you sympathize with that character doesn't mean you're going, yeah, let's murder someone on live TV. It's just, it's not fucking black and white. It's a perfect gray area, and we can exist and talk about that to our heart's
100%.
content. And this one, I wish I had more of that, where it doesn't. But
no, it's very clear in this one who, they're trying to make you not like him. They're not. It's purposely kind of that way. And but actually, just before we move on to the spoiler-free section, or maybe you should put it in. Actually, no, I'll put it in the spoiler section, because it was someone that's in this that I wasn't expecting, cast wise. So maybe, and it's not in the trailer, so we'll move on.
But yeah, so 2 stars, 2.5 stars. It's not an avoid, because I think it's interesting enough that maybe you should watch it if you like the first. Maybe you should, to see what side of the fence you come down on. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's get stuck into the spoiler section. And I should have talked about the box office, but this is a $200 million budget, which I was flabbergasted.
How?
I was just like, what the fuck is that? Just, it makes $1 billion. Everyone adds a zero to their fucking salary. The first one cost $50 million, and makes sense. $50 million. It's a really good looking, well made $50 million movie. But yeah, with the first movie, like, Warner Brothers are just fucking all over the shop. Like, they got less than 50% of the profits from the first movie, because they wouldn't fork out 50 million quid to fund it, so it got co-funded by a few other different people. So when it made $1 billion, it's just like, somebody got fired. Just like, you wouldn't just fucking throw 50 million at it, for fuck's sake.
That's crazy. It is, yeah. It's wild to think that. I'm just thinking now about that set wise. Were some of those sets purposely built, practical sets? It didn't really feel like it, that many of them were purpose built. But streets or something like that. You know what I mean?
Like a courtroom. How much does it cost to build a courtroom? 200 grand?
Yeah, courtroom, and a few different prison rooms that you can reuse, over and over, and then you think about the
cast. But even the cast, there's what, two main characters and Brendan Gleeson?
Maybe they had to fucking spend a fortune with getting rights for all those songs. It would cost a fucking fortune. It's their own bleeding fault. Should have cut it down to,
they sing fucking poorly.
Yeah. Cut down to fucking 20 songs rather than the 7,000 you have in it, and maybe it might cost a bit less now.
Yeah. But we'll fly through the kind of the spoiler section of this, because there's a lot to kind of chat about around the various points. But the way it started, I thought was cool. I love a different logo, or a themed logo, when they start with the old Warner Brothers animated logo and then goes straight into a cartoon animation, old school, with the Joker fighting his shadow, which is obviously foreshadowing the movie in some way, shape or form. A character seemingly wrestling with himself or his darker side. I thought that was fucking fantastic. But then, upon reflection, it felt like a strange thing to start with, as it sets out the narrative for the film, struggling with your darker self, suffering as a result of your shadows. But that seemed at odds with the theme of even that character in the first movie, because That first movie was all about kind of pain and trauma and consolidating it into, persona to live your life. And then this is, you're battling an alter ego, that is a destructive alter ego, which we kind of know isn't the case from the first movie. And that's the basis
Yeah.
of this movie. The courtroom drama is, I should have said this in a non-spoiler, but it's I don't think it's a musical, and I don't think it's a it's kind of a musical, and it's kind of a courtroom drama, and it's kind of a prison thing. It doesn't really know what it wants to be, but the courtroom drama elements of it there's no drama, because he's not a split personality. He's just
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, we'll get on to that. But I did like the animation.
Although
It's a bold choice to start with. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, what I loved about the animation was that like it's a very basic older style animation. Maybe I'm not sure if it's 50 style or earlier even. And the walk and everything that they had with Joker in the suit and thing, it really got the Joaquin Phoenix Joker feel of it. Like when he's doing that strut in, and like it's such a basic design. I really thought they captured his features and captured that whole walk and everything just so well in such a simple cartoon. I really liked it. The whole start of it. I thought that was well done. But yeah, like again, it doesn't really serve a massive purpose. Like it's cool and I enjoyed it, but if you were going to do that throughout the movie and every time he has a fucking psychotic break, we cut to cartoon versions of him or something like that, then fair enough.
Are the musical elements in fucking cartoon form or something? It's it's like
something
tacked
like
on
that.
where someone had a good idea somewhere and kind of went, go for that.
As cool as it is, we don't see it again. That's your cartoon version. You're not going to get to see it again. And that kind of felt a little bit pointless. Why go and put in this cool cartoon thing if you're going to then just take it out, not use it again for the rest of the film. Like if anybody misses the opening credits, that they've missed it. It's just
someone
gone.
Goes, what about that animated bit? And you're, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's like do that and release it as a separate promo for the movie or something like that to get bums on seats. This is actually tracking to make about 40 million or something like that, which is not great. But yeah, we go from that crazy weird animation to Arkham. I think did I say it's Arkham? It's Arkham Prison, right? Or is it?
So this is Arkham, like
it's not the asylum.
I don't think it's like the same place. If they call it something else, it's not Arkham Asylum. It's Arkham Medical something center.
Yeah.
Like it's, I don't know. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, and we see the warden Brendan Gleeson, who is having a fucking blast and keeps his accent, which is great. Love that kind of shit. And we see Arthur Fleck, and like, is he even scrawnier than the last time? That fucking shoulder protruding bone in his back. It's just like fucking hell. It's just like, hold my beer, Christian Bale. It's like, oh my god, that was quite a sight. And we see Arthur going off to meet his lawyer, and we see his interactions with the wardens, and he's getting shaved to meet his lawyer and all this. And the guards, there's a recurring thing where the guards keep asking him, you got a joke for us today, Arthur? You got a joke? And I like that kind of recurring thing. I thought at some point he's going to fucking fully become the Joker and murder all these guys, because that would have been brilliant. Because it's just as a comedian, not that I am a comedian, but like, you imagine a comedian at a party or something like that, and tell us a joke. You would at some point just smash someone on the fucking head with a glass bottle or something. Just fuck off. Is that funny enough for you?
Just on those guards, obviously Brendan Gleeson is amazing, but his other guards that are with him, man, they were fucking atrocious, man. They were so bad. Like, they were just, it was almost like people trying to act badly. I was like, what? Because you're in the midst of these other performances, which are, for the most part, are really great. That young actor we meet later on, I can't remember his name. He ends up getting strangled. The young kid, I thought he was great. Never seen him in anything before. But like the two guards, basically two main guards that he kind of has with him, they're just so the dialogue is just terrible. And I do think that some of theirs is definitely ADR'd. But yeah, it was painful to listen to watch and listen to them. I just don't know. They just felt so
ran out of money.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're probably just actual security guards that were there.
We're a little low on cash. You want to jump in the scene and give you $50? But yeah, from then when there's a lovely shot from the trailer, which I really think is one of those shots that they just do to have in the fucking trailer, where it's the 4 guards walking Arthur out in the rain and they've got umbrellas and they have black umbrellas, and then he looks up and then we see a shot from above and they've got the coloured umbrellas, and it's no doubt a reference to like the umbrellas of Cherbourg, that French kind of it's from the 60s or something, that a far superior musical. So I don't know why they're kind of referencing that, and you don't really see any more of that kind of shot. You know what I mean? It's just like altered kind of reality.
Can I just actually say, just on that, there's a shot in the trailer that isn't in the movie. You see the part where the 2 of them are walking down the steps of the thing, and she's doing this thing, and she's dressed up. We don't see her in that costume, and that scene they just took it out. But
and that scene it didn't. It looked like a scene based in reality. So it's like and they're in their full kind of garb, and that's one of those moments in the trailer where you're just like, oh fucking hell! But like, are they gonna get out and into Gotham and see what fucking happens? Set up a third movie or something, you know?
Like when you mentioned the fact that they were ripping up scripts and all that, I wonder if part of the idea was that he would get off on like fucking whatever madness, insanity plea, and the 2 of them are out on the and now we get to see what happens on a bigger scale with the 2 of them out, and that's the 2 of them walking down and celebrating out of the courtroom or something, and they just decided to go a completely different direction with it.
That must be like
a
last act rewrite or something like that, because that is definitely something from after the trial.
Yeah,
has to
definitely
be, right? But yeah, we get Joker then goes to meet his lawyer, and that's in the minimum security wing, I think, of Arkham, and he's walking by from the trailer. You've seen it. There's a music class going on with some other inmates, and he sees Lady Gaga, and then she comes out of the room and, gives him like a hey or whatever, and just pretends to blow her brains out, and they obviously share a moment, and Arthur is now in love with this lady straight away, as Phil was. Then they share a lovely moment.
I don't know what it says about me, that it's always these crazy women that I'm like, I can see it working. I can fix her.
She needs me, man. I'll sort you out. But yeah, then Joker meets his lawyer, and they talk about giving an interview, and we find out that their whole idea here is that they're going to present the case that he is kind of a split personality, and the Joker is, or that he's plead insanity and to go on trial, and that Joker was responsible for the murder of these 5 people and not.
And he's not on board
himself.
with that. Like,
he's
not on board. Like, they've got a psychologist who will say that, and so they're thing. And this is the character. Like, I didn't know Catherine Keener was in this movie.
Yeah, she's brilliant.
So I was over the moon when I saw her, and I didn't know she was in it. So yeah, that was my little kind of thing I didn't want to mention the spoilers. I was just delighted. I was like, oh fucking hell, I hope she's in loads of this movie, because she's fantastic.
Yeah, she's so fucking good.
Yeah, so it was great to see her. I think that it really was being pushed on him. He's not really answering when they're kind of like, and this happened to you, and that's where the split personality happened, didn't it? He's just like,
it's all kind of it's told to him what his defense is going to be,
coached.
Exactly, yeah. And then we find out that Brendan Gleeson's I can't remember the character name, but he says to Arthur he got him a spot in the music class, and he then goes to the music class and he ends up chatting with Lady Gaga, who is Lee Quinzel, and just call her fucking Harley. Like, I got these, like, ooh, we're gonna. Well,
she calls herself it at one point, like, because her name is Harley Quinzel in this,
and she just calls.
Well, she goes by Lee, and I think at one point she does, like, she's like Lee, when she's doing like Leap the Message, it's Harley here, so she does refer to herself.
Oh, right, I missed that, but she says that she's in there and she set fire to her parents' apartment, and she's watched. Apparently, there's a Joker documentary that is aired about his life, and she's watched it 20 times, and she's obviously like besotted with Joker. And that's one of these things where I know they're changing things up, and I'm all for it, but it's I always loved Joker and Harley throughout all the fucking comics and cartoons and movies where he's almost coerced her into becoming part of his gang or his love and whatever. And I see what they're doing, but they're kind of reversing it here. Like he doesn't have to do anything. She already just is besotted with him. That just like she loves the idea of Joker. And it in a kind of twist of fate, it turns out that she's the one who's manipulating him, which I guess is an interesting take. But that's more interesting if they exist anywhere else but a courtroom and a prison. You need to see them out in the fucking streets. You need to see them actually, like, they don't spend that much time together, apart from in song. But yeah, so back in prison we see Harvey Dent is on the TV in prison and he wants a death penalty, and that makes sense. Then that's why they're trying to get this new defense of split personality to avoid the death sentence. And then while he's watching TV, this is the first moment where he just starts singing in the prison while they're watching TV. And straight away, I was like, okay, this is going to be one of these. It's not really real. It's going to cut back and he won't be singing. He'll still be watching the TV. I knew that was going to happen. But I still couldn't stop just going, why are you singing? Why? Like, it just didn't grab me at all. I know Joaquin Phoenix, like, Walk the Line. I loved that movie, and I like the way that some people have said online that they don't like the way that a lot of the musical bits, they're not playing up to Lady Gaga's stellar voice, and obviously Joaquin Phoenix couldn't match her in that vocal department. And I like the way that they kind of sing, and they're just it's kind of a base in reality there. They're not turning into fucking show stars or anything like that. That's all well and good. So I kind of like that aspect going through the movie, but it's still this part. I just could not get away from the thought of just like, just don't. Why are you singing, man? Why are you singing? What were your thoughts when he starts?
I actually didn't mind it. I didn't mind it because, again, I just thought that I liked the whole scene of it. I like you 100%. It's just going to cut back to that. You know, I mean, it's like someone daydreaming and it's a massive, they fucking kill somebody in the open, and it cuts back to, you just really know what they're thinking, what they'd love to be doing right now. And then it just cuts back to normal. I knew that was going to happen. I didn't really mind it too much. I think because at this point, we're actually a bit into it. Like, we're maybe 20 minutes into it. You know, I thought this is the first bit of music we've had. We haven't had to have, a thing. Because usually what you would have in a musical is they meet and then there's a song about it. They meet and it's a song, I just met a guy, I just met a fucking girl, blah, blah, and it's a whole big thing about it, where they're singing someone's name, and that's where you go. And they weren't really doing that. I was like, okay, so it's not really, you're not sticking to, say, the musical trope of following along with how, a song about what just happened in the story or what's happening further in the plot along. They just kind of threw it in. So I get what you're saying, but I didn't really mind it. I think it was quite short. It wasn't crazy over the top because it was just contained in that room. It wasn't like when they're later on, they have the Joker and Harley show and they're in the band a bar at one point, Pogo's Lounge or something they call it, which is obviously supposed to be a bar that they have together, and they're both all dressed up in makeup. And that's when they start going into the further realm of it. This was just a kind of him in that room on his own. I didn't mind it too much compared to some of the others later on.
Yeah, I don't know, for some reason, it's just, I don't like, not that this is a dream sequence, but just scenes like that, which just, when they don't really serve a narrative point, like, off topic, like Sopranos season 6, when he starts having dreams and they start showing that, and it's just like, oh, fuck off, man. Stick to the drama. Just like, you're doing fucking really good at that. I don't need to. You lose me when it's a dramatic show or dramatic movie, and then you kind of go into someone's head, and it doesn't, if it doesn't fit, it just doesn't work for me. It just kind of started wrecking my head a little bit. But then back in the prison, Joker and Harley sit down to watch a movie with a load of other inmates, and all my notes just say Gaga. So it's just like,
that's fine. I think people know what you're on about.
Yeah, Gaga sneaks off and starts a little fire, and they kiss and they sneak out, and Gaga starts singing again. It's a nice scene of them kind of sneaking out. Why are you singing? and they're kind of escaping, but they're not. And this is one of those moments, like, because it's referenced later on that they were trying to escape. But when she's singing now, this is really happening. They are kind of escaping, because it
Yeah,
seems like they're not escaping. They're just kind of running around and avoiding kind of guards and
but they
stuff.
do. But they do climb the fence to get out, because later on
Mm,
it said to them, you were trying to escape, and he says we weren't trying to escape. Like, really,
mm,
because you ran out and you were climbing the fence to get
yeah,
over and get out, only were fucking dragged back down. So what
mm,
were you gonna do? Just climb
yeah,
the fence and sit at the top and just wave at everybody and then go back to prison again? Like yes, you were definitely trying to escape. But
yeah,
I don't get that. Yeah.
yeah. That's just one of those moments. It's kind of confusing what they were kind of going for there. Just from a musical point of view, it's just like, just again, why are you singing? Why are you singing? But Lady Gaga, he gets thrown in solitary. Lady Gaga visits him in his cell. Says the guards let her in. Straight away, I was thinking,
I think
is this real or is this not?
no, I think when she said I assume she gave head or something, because she says, like, I would, one of the guards let me in, and he looks confused, and she's like, I'd do anything for you. Like, I think that
Okay.
it's one of the guards let her in because she helped him out, and
Mm,
and was reciprocated, let her in for 5 minutes,
yeah.
and yeah, he ends up
But then, because when
losing
she
his
gets in
virginity
there,
to her.
yeah, they shag for like 20 seconds. Just, well, that's probably that's an overestimate. Fucking hilarious. But he does his makeup at that point as well. But then very shortly afterwards, you see him and he doesn't have any makeup. So it's just like, did that fucking happen? What's going on here?
I don't
Um,
know how long after that happens, or what happens in that room, that we see him with the makeup, though. I'm not entirely sure.
yeah,
Um,
I was confused. But then we get Steve Coogan, who I did not know was in this movie, and he is interviewing Joker, and this is where Joker plays up to everything and say, look, he blacked out and he didn't realize what was happening, when he was on the Murray show, and says, look, he actually wanted to kill himself when he was going on the show, and just playing up to all this stuff. And then this is the part where then he starts singing, and like, again, I'm just like, why are you singing? And it cuts back then to the prison, and he's watching the TV show or the TV interview, and the singing is in the interview. And you just, like, from your point of view, this is all in his head as well.
yeah, like, I suppose, but I don't know. Like, I just
Yeah,
assumed when they were doing it, because otherwise, why would he only be singing in some parts to himself and other parts not? Like,
yeah,
either it's a representation of his psychosis, or it's
mm,
not. Because if he's singing in real life the whole time, and we're getting him, like, music in the background and all this kind of stuff to it, then surely that's him going nuts. So
mm.
I
Because
just
then we
assumed, okay, it's
see,
all in
like,
his head.
yeah, then, like, Lady Gaga's walking by a TV shop storefront, sees the interview, and I'm not sure if she sees where he's singing in the TVs in the window, and then he blows a kiss to the TV, and then Harley smashes, like it's in the trailer, she smashes the window and grabs the TV, and just like, well, when he grabs the TV, like, he's not on the TV when you're walking away. Just,
But see,
yeah,
this is it.
just like, what the fuck, this silly choice.
That's why I don't know why they bother. If it is a case that the music isn't just in their head, well,
Mm,
then it's not. Then you've moved away from the musical side of stuff, which would have multiple characters singing. You would have
yeah,
Brendan Gleeson doing a song. You'd have Catherine Keener talk about how she needs to listen to him and the law, the judge, maybe, or something like that. That's what you do around the musical. So if they want to use this as a sign of their psychosis, if they're a sign of this shared madness,
mm,
well, then it should just be them singing and only them hearing each other sing. So, that's why I just figured all of it would be in their own head.
mm,
But you're right, though. Some of the singing scenes don't make sense to be only in their head.
yeah. And
So I don't know.
it's just strange to kind of skirt that line and just not go fucking balls in, balls deep, or just
Yeah.
make it very clear. Like, because sometimes when like, if from the trailer, that's what I thought it was gonna happen. It was going to be a representation of his psychosis, and maybe losing himself as a Joker, or distancing himself from it in some way, shape, or
Yeah.
something visually clever in that way. But It's just the fact that sometimes the music is a very obvious in his head in a big production of his big, TV stage or something like that. And other times it's in an interview or he's on the phone to someone, and I think there just are some moments where you go, that's actually playing into the narrative. So did that actually happen? Or,
Yeah.
it just, I don't think it's necessary, or I don't think that should be something that you're contemplating in the movie. Yeah, just anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, we go to trial then. So, and there's so many moments like with that musical score that reminds me of how good the first movie was. Is that bit where on the way to trial and Arthur he's in the back of a police van or something like that, and we get that his laughter and that performance of that kind of laughing and just like being nervous and laughing, and that 10 seconds again just reminded me how fucking excellent the majority of the first movie was. But then he starts, and this is a moment where there's a lot of singing kind of close together, which, and the pacing of the musical elements didn't really work at all, because he starts singing like The Whole World Smiles With You, and then Lady Gaga arrives outside the court to go in, and she starts singing on the way up, walking up the steps, and it's just like, oh fucking, this is a bit much now, lads, But then the fucking court case, the trial, just seems like it's devoid of drama for me, because the first, like, their defense and all this stuff, but you kind of know the outcome, that no jury's going to say, oh yeah, of course you were just the Joker and you didn't murder those 5 people and someone on live fucking television. Like, no one's going to do that. But the first people they have testify are like psychologists and medical practitioners that say, pretty much definitively, like, he doesn't have multiple personality disorders. And someone even says, pretty sure I actually think he's lying about his mental illness, which is a pretty fucking harsh thing to say. But straight away, where's the tension after that? Because it's like you're leading with really strong fucking testimonies. And what did you make about because this becomes a courtroom drama now pretty much until about 5 minutes from the end of the movie. What did you think about it?
Yeah,
it's just such a lull.
Yeah, I think it's Ken, what's his face, Leung, whatever is the kind of specialist that's there. He says that he's lying, reckons he's lying. But like her counter to it is very much, so you only spent like, an hour and a half with him, or an hour and a half looking over his records. That's what you came up with. It's like, well, yeah, because my expertise should back all of this up. You know what I mean? Not every person I need to go and have multiple sessions with them. But like her catch out was like, oh, you didn't see that he was abused as a kid. And it's like, well, he probably would have. Like, if he's a witness, is that then the people who are putting him on the stand, i.e. the prosecution, would have said, here's all the relevant data. They're going to ask why you didn't do this. They're going to ask why you didn't do this. You have to talk to who your witnesses are going to be. But he's just blindsided with this. Oh my God, I didn't know all this horrible stuff from his past. I was like, shouldn't you really know this stuff if you're a fucking psychologist? Shouldn't that be one of your first questions to anybody who has any sort of psychological issue like this? Is, let's find out what happened in childhood. You don't lick this. You don't lick it off a stone, as my elder would say. This is learned behavior. This is from childhood experiences and stuff like that. So he's just maybe a shit psychologist. I don't know, but it was just her gotcha to him was so
lame,
stupid, because it's not, because it wasn't intelligent. It was just so you didn't read this fucking X, Y, and Z report. It's like, he should have known about that. Why wouldn't he have asked about childhood? Why wouldn't that? That's why it didn't make any sense. It was supposed to show her as this intelligent lawyer using a gotcha, and nobody would see it coming. We were like, well, you really should have seen that coming.
Yeah, it's just not as clever as it.
No, it's the most basic thing. Yeah, one courtroom part I did like. So we've had that first courtroom part of it, and then I think he ends up firing her, doesn't he?
Yeah,
because he's not. I don't know. I'm sorry for skipping ahead a little bit, but
no. Well, she tells him about Harley first, that she actually didn't kill her parents or anything like that, and she actually had herself committed. Which I did have a major problem with that, where she had herself committed because she wanted to meet Joker into the minimum security ward, where he's in maximum security place. So like, she's just hoping that he might stop by the singing class. What's your master plan to meet this guy?
And she's obviously nuts. Like, I mean, and they
Mm.
mentioned that she's like that she's a trained or has a degree or something in
Mm.
psychology, and then she's actually a doctor in the other, the other ones, the other
Mm.
iterations of her. Um, but yeah, like it's a weird direction to take with her because your completely mind has changed on the character. Like, okay, well maybe she's not that nuts. Like we're talking about
Mm.
someone who she had told him she was abused, lived up in the same neighborhood as him. It
Mm-hmm.
turns out she's actually from a really wealthy family. She's been to college and got a degree, all this kind of stuff. And yeah, she's obsessed with the Joker character, but how did she become nuts to the
Mm.
point where she's ready to set the place on fire, where she's sharing his madness that he has? If she's had a perfectly fine upbringing,
Yeah.
why is she feeling this connection with him? And so that just kind of made the character less believable then.
It's just a strange choice. It makes much more sense if she is from the neighborhood and she tried to better her life and tried to be a psychologist or whatever, but has just fallen back into madness because she's besotted with this guy. Yeah, that's just a curious
Yeah,
choice.
but yeah, like then she obviously, when she talks to Joker next day, and he says, "No, no, no, your lawyer is lying to you. You have to stop
Mm.
listening to her and all this shit." Um, But like when he fires Catherine Keener and goes on to be his own lawyer,
Mm.
I really thought the performance was great from the guy Gary Puddles, the guy with
That's the
dwarfism.
best. That's the best scene in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I really felt it from him. Like and the kind of snickers he was getting as he walked up, because there's silence in the room as he's walking
Mm.
up, and then the dickheads in the court who see him as a joke, and they're kind of snickering as he's walking up, and he has to sit on the yellow pages to be high enough in his chair and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I thought he was magnificent. Like he really cared for Arthur from the first movie. He really felt that, because that's even in the first movie. He was never mean to him. He killed the other guy.
Mm.
Whose name I always forget, the actor's name. But anyway, the guy he stabs in the first one, like but
Yeah.
lets Gary go, and he's Gary's like, "You're always just the nicest person to me. Other people made jokes about me, you never did." And he misses his friend, and I thought he was wonderful. I loved his performance. And like at this point, because Joker's decided to represent himself, or Arthur's decided to represent himself, he's in the full Joker stuff, the outfit in the courtroom, which I absolutely loved.
Yeah.
It's a
And
great
this,
looking. I love that. I love that look. That Joker, his
it's
Joker look. I
fucking
think it's
great.
great. Like, yeah.
And this, like that there's a silhouetted musical performance in the courtroom, which that is kind of from the trailer, where he goes fucking batshit crazy and bashes the lawyer with a stool and fucking smashes the judge with fucking mallet, fucking hammer thing, and that's all great, and that leads into the whole thing of him representing himself, and the people in the courtroom go wild, and that's fucking great. And it's just kind of cool sitting him or having him in the courtroom in the Joker outfit, and the the judge kind of going, well, this, I can't stop you doing that, and it's that's kind of good. But then,
And the persona he puts on, because he puts on the kind of the old timey Southern lawyer. He changes his accent and everything when he's doing interviews and stuff, and like it's a fun performance, and it's that kind of scene of him and Gary and everything is really, really, really got me. I thought that was really good, and like you said, probably was the highlight of the movie. I just didn't, and I really didn't like where it went from here.
yeah, from here it's just like there's more. It's just no stakes with this courtroom drama bit. Like the defense rests, and the Joker's just like, oh yeah. I thought, where's his, is he just going to be? Is he going to do something fucking clever or cool or whatever? But he's kind of going, I rest my case as well, and then we get more fucking music. We get we're back in prison. We see the guards grab him and chuck him into solitary, and there's more gorgeous score from the first movie plays again, and again it's just taken out of the scene completely. Just reminded me of the bathroom scene from the Joker movie, or from the first one, which I actually watched just before we came on. Just put that on again, and it makes sense. Like when you look at that, you almost forgot the kind of the musical elements of that first movie. It makes sense when they said, that we'll go down the musical route, because music is a big part of that first movie. But we get Gaga and Joker singing again about building a mountain, and we get a musical number about their marriage. It turns into a gig, and Joker's kind of tap dancing and all this stuff. And it's a good musical scene, but I kept saying, the fuck is the point of this? Like,
But you really got to hear her voice in
Yeah.
that scene. When she's singing during that scene, she's fucking belting it out, and he's not singing at all. He's just doing his tap dancing. So she doesn't have to, they don't have to kind of dial him down. She can just fucking dial up to 11 while he does all the dancing. That was pretty cool. Like, it's cool looking scene. Like, it's on its own. And
wonderful,
yeah.
It's just why is it in this movie? We get then, like, kind of rounding things up. We get the closing statements, and Fleck comes clean and kind of says, "Look, there is no Joker, and it was him all along." And this is seemingly, apparently, like, part of the twist of the movie. That like, he's not the Joker. Oh, who is the Joker? And Harley Quinn is appalled at this and leaves the courtroom. And Joker rings her, trying to, get her to, like, they're doing the verdict tomorrow or something. He's like, "Please come along." And this is when he sings down the phone. And I guess it's a nice musical bit that he's singing, but it just goes on for a really long time. Like a really long time. I would have just preferred him just talking to her on the phone. Just act it out, man. You don't need to sing this fucking, I don't even know what the song was, but he's found guilty.
Machine as well.
Yeah, exactly. Not even fucking talking to her. But he's found guilty, shock her, and then there is a large explosion in the courtroom. And we get fucking shot of, like, they have to do the, tick the box of showing Harvey Dent on the ground with half his face kind of burnt or whatever, and you're just like, oh, fucking. Again, what's the point? What's the point when you see where the movie goes? What's the point of setting that up? Like, this is not you're not building a world here. So Arthur escapes with the help of a Joker associate and jumps into a car. They drive away, and he kind of freaks out at this and jumps out of the car. And we're never actually told who busts him out of prison. It's just like some people, Joker lovers. I don't know.
Yeah, but like when he's in the back of their car, again, we're just close up in his face, and he's looking all shocked, and they're in the front, and we're hearing their plan. Oh, I can't believe the plan worked. Oh, we blew that place right up. And he is telling the story. The guys in the front, again, that's why I think it was ADR. They're giving the exposition because they just assumed we wouldn't be able to work out that that it was his fans that blew the place up. Like, I don't know.
But anyway, he legs it off and walks. He arrives at the infamous steps from the first movie and finds Harley Quinn up at the top of the steps, and he goes up to her and says, "Come on, we can run away now." And she gives him the crushing news that, like, you killed it all, like, all we had was the fantasy, and it's ruined now because there was no Joker. And he's like, "What about the baby?" Do we mention that she said she's pregnant after their 20-second stand? Did we mention? Yeah. She says that. We
mentioned it.
But yeah, then Gaga starts singing and then says goodbye, and the police arrive, and he's back in prison.
That's actually the first time that she calls him Arthur. Like, she's called him Joker throughout the thing because she's seen him as Joker. So the whole way through the movie, she's referred to him as Joker. And this was the first time that she calls him Arthur, goodbye Arthur, or whatever, and she walks off, and because she's just now she sees him for what he is. He's not this character she's in love with. She's just a dude with grandiose ideas about who he should be in the world,
and he's not that person.
Yeah.
So and the police arrive, and he's back in prison, and he's told he has a visitor. So he heads off down the corridor to see who his visitor is. And at that point, I was like, who's gonna visit him? But we never find out, because another character who has been in the background of like 2 or 3 scenes comes up to him and asks him, like, "I've got a joke for you," and tells him a joke about meeting some famous fucking comedian or whatever, and then just stabs Arthur to death. And he lies on the ground dying, and in the background you see the guy who stabbed him, this non-fucking character, give himself like a Glaswegian smile.
Like I wonder about that.
What?
Yeah, because I was like,
he's the Joker?
Well, that's what I was wondering. First of all, I thought maybe it was Victor Zsasz, because he cuts himself and that's his thing. But yeah, it is. He gives himself that Glasgow smile that we see from Heath Ledger's one, and
Yeah.
maybe even Barry Keoghan's one. They don't really explain what happened to Barry Keoghan
Hmm.
in Batman, but like I I don't know. Like if they're saying because they're very careful not to call Joaquin Phoenix the Joker. It's
Hmm.
Joker. You know what I mean? So are they saying that okay, he's a guy Joker, but he's not the Joker. So is this other guy? Are they saying that he cuts his face? Is he going to be the Joker? Is it that kid's origin story? Um,
Yeah, and
I just don't know.
yeah, and it's just it just made no
Why didn't he
sense.
give
It's
us a
just
song explaining it?
I'm not the Joker. This guy you've never seen before. He's the Joker. Like, what the fuck is going on? That just um, added extra kind of confusion to, like, did they know what they were doing with this movie? Is this all just kind of like, oh, is this something they came up with in the fucking trailer? Ripping up the script and going, hey, whoa, what if we just put in a few scenes of a guy looking and he's the real Joker, just like how
Yeah.
fucking stoned do you have to be to think that's a good idea? I just, you know what I mean? You wake up in the morning going, fuck, we actually filmed that. Fuck. So we spent 2 movies following a guy who's not what people think he is, or not what he thinks he is. Like, what's the fucking point? Timelines don't really match up either. If they're kind of going, oh look, he's the real Joker. He's cutting himself, as you're saying, like the Heath Ledger character. But this is like set in like 1981 or something like that. So that's like Heath Ledger's Joker would be 4 years of age at this. It doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense. What are you setting up? We know pretty much you're not doing another one, and what would the fucking point be doing another one if you're going to shift? Or are you trying to set up, like, what are you setting up? Because the Warner Brothers DC universe
Arthur Fleck is dead.
it's just the universe is not being set up by this movie. These are known to be kind of standalone movies existing in their own universe, like the Batman. So just like, is that a studio fucking exec move? Or, like, it just doesn't make sense. Why do that? It's not a ta-da moment. It's a like, what the fuck? That's just stupid.
Yeah.
And then that's the end credits. And I remember just sitting there just going, what the fuck is that? Like, it didn't stick the landing. There was nothing.
Oh, it's so unsatisfying.
They think it's some kind of ta-da moment, and it's not. It just felt completely flat, and it's a movie where there's a bunch of kind of things where some things work, like, some of the music things work, but then others completely fucking miss the mark and ruin sections of the movie. I think there's no, it just takes place in a prison and a courtroom, and I just don't think it's a good I don't think it's a good musical. I don't think it's a good courtroom drama. I don't think it's a good psychological profile or look at this character, because we've gone through these story beats already in the first movie, and it just makes no sense. Who's this movie for? Like,
and so pointless. Like, why have him escape at all? Because he basically winds up in the same position he was at the very start. He's in this prison, no hope. He knows he's going to get a trial, and chances are he's going to be sentenced to death. And then at the end of the movie, that's what's happened to him. He's got sentenced to death. His escape plan lasted for 2 seconds when he got out. His first escape plan with Harley Quinn didn't work. The whole movie became pointless when you just had him smack back where he belongs, where he began. And there's no twist then. There's no, he managed to get away and do something crazy. He didn't. He got away for 5 minutes and then got fucking picked up again. It's just, what was the point of the fucking film then? He's just a sad character to begin with, and then just ends with this same sad character with nobody in the world. And it's just, I don't know.
It feels like it's not a progression as a sequel. It feels like it's
there's no
a companion piece. It's like, which you can watch Joker or Joker Folie, and just they're both like, one is fantastic, fucking enthralling character study where you see where he is at the start and at the end when he's standing in the cop car, arms out with the Joker fucking blood on his mouth with a smile, and everyone like adoring fucking fans and people who are just loving him, and that's the movie. You're just going, oh, look where he was and look where he's come. I want to see what happens from that with that character?
Yeah.
Like, but we go back and I just found it's just a very deeply frustrating movie. Like the characters are there, the world building is there, the filmmaking caliber is there. Like the movie's gorgeous. The music is, you've got Lady Gaga. If you want to go the musical route, go fucking full tilt on it. And really, like, let her write songs for it. Let her do so, like, really go like the La La Land kind of aspect where the musical bits are something you look forward to because they progress the fucking story. And it just seemed strange that that the Joker character that we see at the end of the first movie is in this movie for about 2 minutes in the courtroom, and then the rest is Arthur Fleck. But we've been there, we've seen him. I know what he's like, and he ends up dead. It's like, okay, what's the point? Like, what's the fucking point? It's such a hard miss. Like, which is, it's a shame. It's a shame. I didn't expect to not like it as much as I did.
Yeah, no, I think it's an opportunity missed to do something really great and build on what you did from the first one. Like you said, rehashing the old stuff, and maybe it is a case that they wanted to change the view of him, that he isn't some hero because, again, people are trying to, maybe it's the studio, as you said, trying to be more sensitive after the comments they received. I don't know, but why bend to that? Like it did so well. It did. I mean, you don't need to bend to the small minority of people. There's always going to be a very vocal minority that complain about fucking something. They will find something wrong with everything. So you've already got a great formula from the first movie. Why not go along with that? Or is it a case of hubris on the part of Todd Phillips? Did he think, I did such a fucking cracking one with the first one, I'm going to do something different with the second one and add a load of music numbers in. I can do no wrong.
And did he get free reign to do that? Like you've seen with, Thor, Love and Thunder, when you give a very accomplished filmmaker free reign to do something, when they're not reined in at all, it tends to go awry, to put it mildly.
Yeah. So is that it then? Are we happy with our scores, I think, as we said at the spoiler section?
Two for me. Disappointing too.
I will give 2.5 because I did love how it looked. I'm always amazed by Joaquin Phoenix's performances. Lady Gaga was great. There's some great performances. There's great actors in this movie. But utterly pointless movie though. Well, look, thanks very much for talking us through that, Daz. It's not the easiest one to talk through. And thanks to everyone at home for listening.
Sorry.
Easier than Megalopolis. Yeah, we should say. I know we promised that to you last week, but it was already getting pulled from the cinema. I had planned to see it when I got back, and it was already after. I think it got 1 week is all it got in some cinemas.
I told you I got an email saying my thing was cancelled. Your booking has been cancelled. We have this on offer. It's like there was one showing in the Odeon. Fucking cancelled it. So I was the only fucking sucker going to it.
Yeah, even it's just out. Like even the day and the days after it came out, it only had 2 showings per day in the cinemas. Like that should be on multiple screens, multiple times a day if it's a Francis Ford Coppola movie. But it's so shit. Apparently, it's one we'll have to do maybe towards the end of the year. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be on digital soon enough, and we can do it then. Yeah. So again, thanks to everyone at home. Thanks for all your listening and your support. Keep on commenting and sharing and following and all that good stuff. And if you have anything you'd like to hear us talk about or anything like that, feel free to shoot us a mail at middleagegeeks@yahoo.com, or you can stick a comment in the YouTube comments, which Daz will be sure to read. From Daz and from me, we will see you all in the next one. Take it easy.
See you later. Bye-bye.